Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Every Other Day vlog with Andy with Bilibre. As you can see, I'm wearing the same shirt, same hairdo, same watch, same glasses, same mustache. Everything's the same for the last two, I guess now three vlogs. This is because I'm going to be going to Collision next week with Alex. It's a tech conference that takes place in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. Haven't seen Alex in a few months. Fortunately, we have the internet, so we're able to co-host our podcast together. Speaking of which, this Friday, which is tomorrow, excuse me, I guess, we're going to be having a podcast with a special project that I've been keeping my eye on called EOS. EOS. We have a special group that understands the project very well. They're working closely with them, and they're going to be talking with us about the project, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, this is the fourth installment of me commenting on, I guess, providing rebuttals to Matt's points. This is number 4 out of 8. Thank you again to Matt, who replied to my on my Mark Blythe video. He was the only comment there, but it was a very substantive comment, and it's what's allowed me to make several episodes worth of content. A month late, I apologize, Matt. He goes by Junker ZN on YouTube, but we're hitting it now, and we're hitting it fast. So let's go on to his fourth point. And he said, most mining assets are based in China, and much of those assets are based on under-the-table power agreements and outright power theft to run the mining rigs. The amount of pollution generated just to mine these cryptos is crazy. Yes, I totally agree that the amount of power required to maintain a blockchain, specifically Bitcoin's, is insane. It's a lot. And I think it's necessary. If you have no power behind your money, then it's worthless, right? Do you know the amount of power that was required to create every piece of gold that you have in your basement or buried somewhere in your backyard? It required an entire star exploding to create your gold bar. A big star. It's a lot of power. It's huge. And it's why gold is so valuable. It's why gold has been able to maintain its value for as long as it has in civilizations, is because alchemy couldn't even figure out how to transmute copper to gold, silver to gold, whatever cheaper metal to gold. The properties of the element gold are what make it valuable. Just the same, Bitcoin's, the work, the effort that's required to verify Bitcoin transactions and thus mint new Bitcoins is a lot, and that's a good thing. If it were trivial to create a Bitcoin, it wouldn't be valuable. It wouldn't be a store of value the way it is now. The network has agreed to make it difficult to mine or mint a Bitcoin and verify transactions. It's one and the same. It's the reason why it works. And it's the reason why it's valuable. So, to his next point about China, yes, it's not the ideal. So Bitcoin was meant to be a decentralized currency, and decentralized in the sense that no one entity or cartel, government, business, authority decides what Bitcoin is. And what I mean by what Bitcoin is, I mean the rules that determine how a Bitcoin is made, the rules that determine how Bitcoin moves from point A to point B, the rules of mathematics that ensure one account could not be hacked because cryptography, because encryption secures every account. Mathematics is what determines what moves a unit from account A to account B. And that is thanks to mining. That's thanks to the algorithm and the protocol inherent in Bitcoin, which has been agreed to by as many people as it has been for the last nearly 10 years. So yes, it requires a lot of energy, and yes, there's a lot of energy coming from China. But here's the catch. Mining, the whole reason why it's necessary and why it works and still works is because there is a Nash equilibrium behind Bitcoin. And what a Nash equilibrium entails, or what it means to be under Nash equilibrium, is even with all the variables inherent in the universe around us, this accounting for greed, accounting for manipulation, accounting for fraud, accounting for hacking, accounting for an increase in computational power, mining is still economically viable, assuming you're playing by the rules. If a miner decides to go rogue and tries to mint Bitcoin by creating false transactions, the rest of the network is going to throw it out. We have your typical prisoner's dilemma. We have your typical tragedy of the commons. If the entire Bitcoin network is going to be broken, it has to be most of the miners or none at all. And if most of the miners decide to break the entire network, what happens then? The unit then holds no value because the agreement that the currency would work in a certain way no longer holds. And therefore, that unit should no longer have the same asking price as it has today. So Bitcoin would go from 9,000 to whatever low amount of money because the currency has been debased. It's been defrauded. It's no longer useful to the majority. The rules are no longer agreed to by the majority. And therefore, the unit is useless or has much less value. So China, while it has a large amount of mining power, it doesn't seem like they're intent in breaking Bitcoin yet. I say yet because it's yet to break. But I also don't see them discontinuing mining or mining in a way that's nefarious. Now, the amount of pollution that comes from mining is another issue in and of itself, but mining is not the reason. Bitcoin is not the reason why pollution is here. Pollution is here because our society for some reason hasn't addressed the issue of global warming that's being caused by pollution, that's being caused by still using fossil fuels to fuel our energy grid. It's ridiculous. It's absolute insanity that our society has still not moved on from fossil fuels. But then again, it's also economic principles that make us ensure we're still ruining our environment. It's unfortunately it is still way too cheap and economic to pump oil out of the ground, to pump this gas out of the ground that makes energy from those dirty models or from those dirty sources still viable. I don't want it, but guess what? The people making money from it are still making tons of money from it and not putting in, and it's not up to me. It's up to the entire market. I wish it was up to regulation to move us away from the dirty energy. Bitcoin mining is only doing what's economically profitable as well. If governments mandated that our entire energy grid use clean energy, then mining would have no choice but to use clean energy. Is it the regulators' fault that we still have dirty energy? Yeah. If Matt wants to stick to the same premise that regulation is necessary for Bitcoin, why not say regulation is also necessary for getting us clean energy? I want it. Do regulators want it? Not as much as the money that they're getting clearly for not getting us off of the dirty energy. So we need clean energy. Mining is going to use clean energy once we move to those kind of energy grids. And in fact, I mean, if it's going to be cheaper, more efficient, and cleaner, that's great. What mining does is it tries to find hardware, tries to benefit or not benefit, improve on the efficiency of hardware to actually use less electricity. So the newer miners that are coming out aren't bigger and clunkier and less efficient. It's quite the opposite. And you know, the many different theories that determine or that have shown us that we're going to be more efficient with our hardware, with our computing hardware, and pump out more energy or pump out more calculations, tell us that mining is possibly better for society as a whole. Why? Because over time we're getting more and more efficient hardware, which can translate into many other things. Technology and innovation doesn't run on a single plane. It actually can apply on many different levels to many different industries, many different technologies, the interdisciplinary technologies. I mean, yeah, mining isn't just in its own little, I mean, the Bitcoin protocol is its own little universe that self-regulates itself, but the hardware that goes behind mining isn't, it is for a single purpose. I won't deny that, but the technology that makes Bitcoin miners more efficient can be applied to other hardware as well. I don't see it just being unilaterally applicable. Um, so yeah, this is this whole issue of mining. You don't want it to be centered only in China, but many people don't know this, but the Chinese government is deeply invested in the bigger companies and bigger companies that make lots of revenue, lots of income because they get to pay lots of taxes to the government. So most companies in China have a government entity or a government body in there making some decisions with the company as far as what they're doing. It's a very strange system. Venezuela tried it, and they I guess they weren't as good at it as the Chinese government. Maybe not as disciplined. Who knows? But the Chinese government runs within many companies. So there is no doubt that the Chinese government is deeply embedded in this mining conglomerate that's occurring in China. But they are not trying to overthrow the Bitcoin mining network. In other words, they're not trying to get over 51% yet of the mining of the hashing power, because once there is 50% or more hashing power going belonging to one cartel, there will be heavy pushback from the rest of the Bitcoin economy to either move to a currency, worst case, fork and move into a crypto that's not co-opted by just one mining cartel, or just ask that mining cartel to split up into many smaller ones that can't overthrow the Bitcoin network. That's a conversation all just entirely of its own, and it's a fun one, and it's fun because there's so many what ifs that you start to run into once you have 51% of the mining power belonging to one mining pool. But of course, we know that there's many mining pools that are currently in existence, and just because there's a risk that anyone can get to 51% doesn't mean they will. And part of it, again, comes back to game theory. Why is one miner going to get to 51% and scare the entire network and scare the entire value proposition of Bitcoin, if it would mean that all the Bitcoins that they're minting and creating for themselves, all that work and energy that they're putting into making the actual Bitcoins, they would deem it would make the Bitcoin worthless. So all the work that they put into mining would make it worthless, and therefore it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to scare the economy. It makes a lot more sense to just split up into a lot of smaller cartels. So yeah, the kind of attack, one of the interesting attacks that I've heard of the 51% attack is the Goldfinger attack, which from what I remember, it's a homage to, pays a homage to that GoldenEye, not Gold, the James Bond movie where one of the bad actors, his name is Goldfinger, and he's planning on destroying all the gold in the world, which would make him, I think he tries to collect it all or get it all into one place and then destroy it all, which doesn't make any sense. He's just destroying value. Why not just steal it? Makes no sense. I don't remember what he was getting at or what he was trying to prove or do. Societies will find another mode of moving value around. If it's not gold, it's silver, it's something else. But yeah, I hope I properly hit all of Matt's contentions. I somehow seem to stretch my response to a 2-sentence statement. I assure you his fifth point is a lot longer. But this has still been a lot of fun for me. So yeah, guys, hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Zukaza on Twitter. Please like if you like. Please share with a friend. Did I say subscribe? Please subscribe. Until next time, see ya.